Hello, this is JJ Humphrey with Elephant in the Room. Today we got Bob on silent. He can't talk, so he's having a little difficulties there. So you may see him agreeing with me every once in a while, but we won't be able to hear from Bob. So I'm solo. So I just want to share today. This is a really important thing for me. First of all, I want to say that I've been chasing cattle all over the place today. I've had a bunch of cattle out, so I've had to get in the truck while I've chased these cattle, and I'm remote right now. So if you see me sitting in the car, that's what this is. But I wanted to take the time out of my busy day chasing all them cows, because this is really, really important what I've got to say today, because I started Elephant in the Room with an ideal. And so we've been doing Elephant in the Room, kind of talking about what nobody else wants to talk about in the state of Oklahoma. And we've had some great subjects. We've talked about Langford and how we feel about Langford and what he's done here lately. We've talked about the DAs. We talked about the border. We've been down on the border. We talked about elections. We've talked about just about everything, Department of Corrections and all the things nobody else will talk about. But what I wanted Elephant in the Room to start for is because I was waiting until session starts back. And what I want to do when session starts back, I want to use Elephant in the Room to tell you what's going on at your capital. It is time that the people of the state of Oklahoma know what is happening at the Capitol, how that game plays, what's going on. And so one of the things that I want to try to do is when we start there in session, I want to start a little series on Elephant in the Room called Bill Tracker. And I want to look at some of those bills that all of the state is interested. And I want to tell you what happens to those bills. For instance, we can talk about all the bills that I've got assigned to me. And there's some really, really important bills. I'm going to give you an example. One of the things that I got told by a very, very distinguished businessman, does a lot of agricultural business. And he told me that he had met with the niece of the person that is over China, Xi Jinping or whatever his name is. But the niece of him is actually over all of their agricultural, okay? And she met with him and she advised that China is trying to put a foreign person on every major school, university board. every university board, they're going to have influence on. Well, I ran a bill that says we shouldn't have a foreign person on our university boards. I'll go you one more. Really, we shouldn't have a person who's not an Oklahoma citizen on an Oklahoma school board. We need people who have the interest of Oklahoma, mine and yours and our kids' interest in these universities. Now, that's a pretty decent bill. I think it's a pretty important bill based on the fact that I have knowledge that that's what they're trying to do. Now, guess what? That bill went to a committee called Rules, and Rules is where you go to die. So if your bill gets sent to Rules, then guess what? Your bill's not going to get heard. If it does get heard, you had to maneuver, you've had to pull some hook and crook and really fight, sneak it in some other way. And again, why would our leadership want to kill a bill like that? Now, that's the kind of stuff that you want. And again, that's one of the smaller bills. We can see bills. I've had a bill where I would stop porno being given to minors in books. And again, we're not talking just school, we're talking everywhere. I had that one killed right on the floor. Now, that's the stuff that we need to. How is the Republican Party fighting these kind of things? And that's what we want to talk about. We want to show you, I want to use elephant in the room to show you just what I'm talking about, everyday stuff of what's going on up there at the Capitol and what people who are conservative are having to fight, having to work. I'm meeting this Sunday or Saturday at a big group there, 1 to 3 o'clock, second floor rotunda there at the Capitol, I think. And these are people who are fighting to try to get your health rights. And again, they're not having a whole lot of success. Guys, why are the Republican Party are the party that's not wanting to make certain that these vaccines are never forced on you again, that we don't have these closings again, that we don't have school closings, that we're not going to see, hey, we got people talking about putting people in camps and all of these kind of things. Where are the people who are going to stand up and say, no, we need bills to make sure that never happens again? But guess what? We're not seeing that. Why? Because they're all being killed. They're all being suppressed, and they're all being sent to all these committees that, basically where they go to die. So they've got their little crew that make sure they pass whatever they want to pass, and what they don't want to pass gets sent, and then they sit back and go, oh, well, we couldn't get that out of committee. Oh, well, it died over here. Oh, well, the caucus is not for that. They're going to blame it on the caucus. It ain't the caucus. It's somewhat the caucus, but it ain't all the caucus. It's the leadership, the people who decide where these bills go. It's time that we learn how this process works, and it's time that we learn all the stuff that's going on behind this. Now, guys, here's the deal. It starts with elections, and we're fixing to see, this is so important. I hope y'all listen up. We're fixing to see our election cycle start. In April, we'll see who draws an opponent, who doesn't draw an opponent. We're going to see a lot of open seats where I think we got 10 or 12 people that are leaving, that we're going to see open seats, and some of those races has already started. You need to get out and you need to vet your candidate, because I can promise you they're going to get out. The people who want to control that Capitol building are going to get out. And they're going to get out with dark money. And they're going to get out with all this huge corporate money behind them. A lot of it Democrat-controlled money. And we'll sit up here and say we're Republican, but it'll be Democrat-controlled money. And you watch those candidates. And guys, we're not very smart because we're letting money control it. Instead of us getting out and getting the narrative out, we can beat money if we all get together and get our voice out, and we carry the voice for our candidate. We help out. We start working. And again, that's worth money when we have a great message, when we have a good candidate, but then we get out. Hey, ride in shoe polish. I remember one of the greatest elections I ever seen. A guy just decided he'd run but he wasn't going to put up a bunch of money. He wasn't going to, fight. He just said, "Hey, if you want me, I'm your candidate. That's what I'm going to do." And everybody got out with shoe polish, and they started writing shoe polish in their on their doors and on their windows, on their cars. Shoe polish wrote his name. It was Roy for sheriff, and they wrote that. And guess what? All over the county, he didn't spend a dime. All over the county, that's what we saw. And again, he won big time, not spending one dime. That's how we do. That's how we work. We just, we work together to do that. That's how we win. And so again, those are the things that we need to look at, because who wins this election is going to decide who wins speaker in our next speaker race. And I'll guarantee you, they want to control that seat. They want to control that seat. And when I say they, I'm talking corporate, I'm talking lobbyists, I'm talking big money, and I'm talking the crew that gets up there and controls if you think I'm not lying, controls every issue, controls everything. Everything is controlled. So what bill goes through, what gets heard, what's the agenda? Now, let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. You got old Joyless Hofschister. Now, we're seeing right now, boy, they're coming out against old Ryan Walters. Boy, they're tearing old Ryan up, okay? Now, Ryan can stand up for himself. I think Ryan's big boy, can handle it, But here's what I'm laughing about. You take old Joyless Hofschister, she got arrested. Her and her consultant got arrested for campaign violations. The old boy that was DA at the time, Prater, who's had a lot of sketchy crap, he ends up dropping the charges for what? We don't know. No reason, just drops the charges. So here we had them dead to right. They had enough to arrest them. Boom, he just drops the charges. Okay, we rock on a little bit further. Guess what? We see Epic get busted. Epic, big time. Auditors busted them. Guess what? This is all under Joyless Hofschister. Okay? All under. Now go back and check me if I'm wrong and see how much money that illegal Epic that's been charged, okay, hadn't been convicted yet. Let me be clear on that. Has not been convicted yet. Go back and see how much of that money went to the candidates, to the elected officials. Hey, I'm gonna tell you what, they were pouring money into elected officials, into the elections, into the campaign donations. I tell you, one cat didn't get it, and that was me. I didn't get it. They don't like me, and I don't like them, and that's okay. If you want to use Epic, I'm okay. If they're good for you, you ought to have the choice as a parent to use them. But if they're going to get school money, if they're going to get public money, they ought to meet the same standards as everybody else. And we know now that they were using illegal money. We know they were funneling it back to all these elected officials. And what do you want to bet? That same consultant is involved in all of that. If you want to go back and check all that, see if I'm right, go back and look at all that. See where all that money went. See who was getting it. See who's behind it. But here's what's funny. Joyless gets arrested for that. She's involved in this. What did you hear? Did you hear anything out of anybody on our side of the aisle? Not one word. Now, she goes in and she shuts the school. I've made a whole packet about this. She shuts the school down, and she does it illegally, in my opinion. That's my opinion, let me say. So allegedly, she does it. She shuts this school down. There's no question she shut the school down. I believe it was illegally, and I think I can easily prove that. I think I have proven that. I gave it to lots of folks, and nothing even done on it, nothing talked about. And then guess what? When she gets this school shut down, hey, within just a few, right there, nobody knows the school shuts down. And guess who shows up to buy the school? Epic. And they tell the one board member who's left, they tell him, say, hey, we want to buy this school. He says, oh, the State Department of Education never allowed that. They say, oh, yeah. Oh, he says, Joey won't ever allow that. Oh, yeah, we got Joey in our hip pocket. Now, this guy's a law enforcement, a retired trooper, and a retired sheriff. He wrote me a statement saying all this. So I'm not having to back up. I've got a written statement. He'll come testify. He'll be happy to testify. In fact, he'd love to testify. And here's the deal.